Hi, everyone. Welcome to Pendulum Friday. My name is Cyndy. Thank you very, very much for being here. The energies right now are in flux. So, I have been routinely asking my pendulum kind of those same questions. And the answers were consistent, and then now they're not. So, I want to just give you that heads up that, and I've tried it with different pendulums to make sure it's not sort of the energy of the pendulum. And there's just different answers coming up. So there's that. Before we get started, there's something I just want to address. There is a lot of intense emotion with regards to Trump, the election, Elon Musk, JD Vance, the whole situation. The angrier you get, or the more afraid you get, that is creating more of that energy, not only for yourself, but you're sending it out. If you can't send light, and I get that, okay? If you can't send light, send benign energy, be benign, be neutral, because anger is not helping the situation. And I think that as the days go by, you're getting, it's like the anger is increasing. So just please be mindful of your thoughts. You know, I am concerned that this could end up being, 4 years, people saying the election was stolen and Trump's in the White House. And I think to some degree, we need to take a couple of deep breaths and at least start to think about, don't energize it, but think about that possibility. Because I'm telling you, hope for the best, but prepare for the worst. And I think there's a lot of hoping for the best going on. I'm not so sure there's a lot of preparing for the worst going on. This is a time that there are all kinds of things you can do between now and the inauguration to energetically move this forward. And it is things like calling your representative. I don't care if he's red or blue or purple. Call them. Let them know what you think. Call them often. Call your senator. Tell them to get those judges confirmed lickety split. Call your representatives and say, you are not on board with the policies that Trump seems to be espousing, and you don't want your rep to be a puppet for him. Lots of stuff you can do. All right. I'm just getting a little concerned. All right. There's not a lot of questions this week, but they're interesting ones. So let's get started. And I'm asking you to be mindful of the fact that these answers are in flux. So I'm going to tell you, before I start these questions, I'm going to take a look at the questions that I have been asking. All right? So let's get started. Is Donald Trump going to be sworn in as the 47th president of the United States on Election Day, January 20th, 2025? Is he going to be sworn in as president? That's a yes. And I can promise you this pendulum was saying no for the last however many days it's been since the election. All right? Were the votes in any way manipulated by outside sources to affect the election results? Okay, yes. But this is the next question. Was the tampering sufficient to, without question, change the result of the election? And now we're getting a no. Please don't get mad and unsubscribe. We need to go through the process, and we need to, again, not get like angry. And I can promise you that the answers were different, right? That's why I'm saying something's going on with the energy. It's in flux. Was Kamala cheated out of the presidency by nefarious means with the votes? Now we're getting a no. But first you were sort of getting a yes. It just dawned on me this is really bad advertising for Pendulum Friday and how accurate my pendulum is. But I think it's just fair to let you know when things sort of are shifting. Because I have to wonder if things weren't shifting a day or two before the election and I misread that energy. It's possible, people. It's possible. All right. First question. When the three planes, Saudi Arabia, Russia, and the former guy, met side by side at Dulles, I know I'm saying that wrong, airport, was that to collude, coincide, or align the activities and processes that took place on November 5th? I'm not going to answer the next three words. Was there something going on there? Okay. Did that result in the election being, the results of the election being wrong? As in, wrong enough to change the presidency? No. So what I've been getting is that they're still counting votes, apparently. And the margin between his votes and Kamala's votes is shrinking and shrinking and shrinking. But it still hasn't shrunk to the point where there's a big, sort of upheaval. There's a lot of automatic recounts going on. So they're going to continue to go on. And there are some situations where the situations may shift and change. But as near as I can figure right now, the change is not going to be sufficient enough. I'm just saying. Would you please ask your pendulum if Biden will be making an announcement to the American people that there was massive voting fraud in 2024? Is there going to be such an announcement? It's a yes, but it's a really unstable yes. And I'm saying that because it's going back and forth, but it's doing it in sort of directions. If so, will this announcement occur in December? No answer right now. Will Biden stop the inauguration of Trump? No, unless it is absolutely, completely proven that he didn't win. And this is what you have to realize. It's not just who won the presidency. It's all of those House and Senate races. Those two are being, recalculated. People are looking at them. But the kind of fraud that would have to have taken place to shift so many races would be significant. That's all I'm saying. Has it been found out yet? I don't know. Let's ask. Will the election interference, voting interference, be exposed before the inauguration? Okay, that's a yes. If so, will Kamala be inaugurated? And that's a no again. Did President Biden meet with Five Eyes during the G20 summit regarding our election? Yes, he did. I can promise you that democracies the world over are freaking out. And that energy also doesn't help, right? I mean, it just doesn't. Until he's in office, if he is, when we know what we're actually dealing with, then it's the time to react. Right now, being afraid that he's going to deport everybody or he's going to, cancel the Affordable Care Act, the first day, all of that stuff, that anxiety is creating the fear that is feeding his power. Don't do that. Hold on to your power. It's yours. And you can control what you are sending out. And what you are sending out right now needs to be positive energy. But I caution you that if you're going to send out positive energy that the truth be discovered and determined. Not so much that changes things. And I listen, I don't want him in office either. I'm in Canada. I don't want him in office. But I want you to just be a little bit more mindful of the messages you're sending out. Speaking of which, there's been a lot of questions about, well, what happens if Trump sort of dies or something happens to him before the inauguration? This is like your presidential succession. This is what happens. Something happens to him, J.D. Vance comes in, J.D. Vance as president, and he will be inaugurated. He will then pick a vice president who will then be inaugurated as vice president. If Trump and J.D. Vance are in a plane and it explodes in the air, okay? That was an example, not an intention for it to happen. It's the leader of, I think it's the leader of the House that then steps in. It's either the leader of the House or the leader of the Senate. If it's the House, you're talking right now about Mike Johnson. So, it's not just a matter of, well, this is right, this is wrong, this is what it was, let's just switch. It's just not that simple. And I don't want people to think that it is that simple to completely alter the impact, the results, and the winning of the election. There's all kinds of, there's timelines out there. There's timelines leaping that aren't making sense. That's why I'm saying the answers are in flux. But what's very confusing to me or strange to me is right now, for whatever reason, the answers that I have been getting, I'm not getting today. I didn't get them last night. Does Putin think Trump is not doing enough to help him inform the U.S. that he helped Trump get elected? Okay, so what happened is one of Putin's, one of his people made a statement like a week ago that basically said in order for Trump to win the election, he had to make promises to certain countries, people, situations, and he now has to honor those promises. That doesn't sound fair. That doesn't sound like there wasn't cheating going on. But, and, it's interesting that that Putin let that information come out. Because let's face it, if this guy said it, whoever he was, can't remember, Putin told him to say it. So, you know, they're dropping breadcrumbs for some reason that it doesn't make sense to me unless Putin is of the mindset that it doesn't matter what happened to create that win for Trump, because Putin doesn't think or believe that the people's opinions matter, that their votes matter. They certainly don't in Russia. So, is he reacting from his own space? Why are they putting information like that? You'd think they would be very quiet about it. Again, I don't know. I don't get it. Okay, so if that happened, if there's more information coming out, is there going to be proof coming from Russia before the inauguration? All right, that's a yes. Mike Johnson stated that the first thing in the chopping block will be to get rid of the Affordable Care Act. Now that Republicans have both the House and Senate, will they succeed in the next 2 to 4 years in eliminating the ACA? No. Okay, and that's one of the things that you can be contacting your rep about and saying, this is not acceptable. You don't take away those kinds of benefits, because he doesn't have a plan to replace them and really doesn't want to replace them. So that's where you get busy. You activate and make the phone calls, do the things that you need to do as a voting citizen of the United States. Will the Trump administration deport more than unauthorized immigrants with a criminal past? No. I think the point that I'm trying to make to you people today is that it's not like Democrats throughout the country have just gone, oh, well, he won. What to do. They're fighting. They're investigating. They've got lawsuits already ready to go for the insane things he says he's going to do. It's not just, he doesn't have the kind of power that he thinks he has and that he wants to have. And even though he pressures his Republican Congress people, they don't fall in line. And remember that the leader of the Senate is not pro-Trump. Think about that. Take that in. Understand what that means. Because it's not like the separation between, how many people each side has is huge. It only takes 5, 6 people on the Republican side to cross the aisle and say, no, you can't be doing this with nothing to replace it. Okay? Again, this is what I'm talking about. You need to slow down, and you need to do what you can do. But being in a state of panic does not help. And listen, I understand what it feels like to be panicking about something that is going to really impact you, but in many ways you don't have any control over. But it's sort of like the energetic damage that you do to yourself, energetically, emotionally, mentally, and ultimately physically, isn't worth worrying about what might happen. Conserve your energy. Do what you can do now to make it known that you don't like what's going on. And then should something happen, the first thing you're going to want to do is trust that the Democrats, have all these lawyers. they will fight this. All right. Please try to remember that. I'm just really concerned because I think that people are getting so upset. And when you get upset like that and you stay in that fear and that anger, um, it's just so it's just so detrimental. Okay. And that's why I keep saying, like, go decorate your Christmas tree, go bake cookies, watch funny movies, do whatever, but don't stay in that space of fear. Okay, so this was the question. Will Trump die before the inauguration? If he does, so I told you what that line of succession is. And Vance will not run for president. He will simply be president. Exactly the same way that had something happened to Biden, or not could something even happens between now and the 20th, Kamala Harris steps in to the presidency. And even if it's for a handful of days, my understanding would be that she then has to get a vice president into office simply in case something happens to her. All right? Your constitution spells out what the plan is. Oh God. Will Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy succeed in gutting Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid? No. But do what you need to do to make sure that your representatives know how you feel about the threat of that happening. Will Elon Musk be arrested? There's no answer. Will he be deported? Will Elon Musk be deported as if there is foul play involved with the election? Okay, what I'm hearing is if that actually happens, it's not that he's going to be deported, it's that he's more likely to just simply leave the country and go somewhere where the United States does not have extradition. They don't have the right to make that other country send him back so he can face the courts. All right. Will Steve Bannon become a whistleblower to avoid prison time? No. He didn't the first time. He's not going to the second time. And, right now, I mean, if Trump actually gets his butt back into the Oval Office, come on, he's just going to pardon him. I'm seeing reports that more people voted in 2020 than in 2024. But it didn't feel that way. Is it true? Okay, let me. Did ultimately were more votes cast in 2020 than in 2024? Okay, so it's a little yes. Will more of Trump's cabinet choices withdraw their names from consideration? So for anybody who kind of missed it, Matt Gaetz has withdrawn his name as Attorney General. I think that he got too hot, and I think that he's hoping that if he just shuts everything down and he doesn't, try to run that or become the Attorney General, that the investigation will not be released. Because even though the yesterday, so on Wednesday, I guess, they voted to not release it. It's a funny thing about how things can leak sometimes. It's just strange how, wrong button gets pushed on a computer. Before you know it, boom, all that information is available. I mean, it's happened before. So I think what he's trying to do is make sure that doesn't happen, that he is protected from the results of that investigation coming out. Okay, those were the questions. I really hope that you did not feel that I spent 25 minutes and 10 seconds giving you a lecture, because that was not my intent. My intent is for everybody to just step back and think about what you can do that is positive for yourself and, frankly, for your neighbors, your citizens, the county, the state, and the country. That may be meditating. That may be calling your reps. That may be both. Please take care of yourself. Listen, one way or another, there is going discipline. As you move forward through the next weeks, days, months, it's going to be really stressful, and it doesn't matter what happens. Trump stays in office, it's going to be stressful. If Kamala ends up being inaugurated as president, whoa boy, is it going to be stressful, because all the Republicans are going to break. And they've already sort of indicated that they tend to be just a little bit more aggressive. So just take care of yourself. There's a bit of a bumpy road ahead of you. It's Friday. Please go do something nice for yourself and someone else this weekend. I think this weekend it is more important than ever. Take good care of yourselves. Be well. I will see you soon. Bye for now.